So this is a pair of the original Chuck's All-Stars in dark atomic teal, which I think is a newer color. I'm going to be unboxing these guys, but while I do that, before you run out and grab your own pair, I'm going to be talking about 5 reasons why I think maybe you shouldn't get Converse.
Suggested for general audiences.
So the Converse All Chucks may just be the single most popular style of shoes in North America and maybe the world. Variations on the style has been around for roughly 100 years and it's still going strong with no signs of changing. It seems like everyone and their dog has a pair these days. But maybe like me, you were kind of late to the game and are just considering getting your first pair. Before you run out and grab your own pair though, here's 5 reasons why maybe you shouldn't get your own Converse. 1, you want a real athletic shoe. These aren't really athletic shoes. I mean, sure, you can wear them, in a lot of different circumstances, but they basically have almost zero support compared to any other form of, runner or casual shoe. Even the sole, there's not really a lot of arch support, and everywhere else is just really soft canvas. That's probably why this design hasn't changed in 100 years. It's really basic, which I think is both its strength and its weakness. These might be sort of marketed as athletic shoes, but they don't really have the support or the comfort factor, the padding, the protection that you would want if you were doing, any extraneous kind of athletic activities on even a semi-regular basis. Unless your definition of athletic is like walking down to the bus stop, which admittedly is more than I've done today. 2, you want a dress shoe. These obviously aren't dress shoes. In fact, of any kind of casual pair of shoes, I would say these probably are the hardest to wear with anything even remotely semi-formal. These are probably some of the most casual shoes on the market in my opinion. I mean, between like the pinstriping down here, the eye contrast between the white laces and the bright colors, kind of the big patchy logo, all this branding. It's really hard to pair these with anything even remotely dressy. Sure, you've probably seen celebrities wear these on the red carpet, but really only when they're specifically trying to defy kind of conventional dress wear. But like a nice, simple summery dress, or if you're a guy with like jeans and a blazer, is probably the most you can get away with these. If that's your definition of dressy, or that's the most dressy wear you ever need, then you are one of the lucky few, so congratulations. Number 3 is the price. These aren't, the most expensive shoes in the world, and neither are they the cheapest by a long shot. For what you get, considering how little must have gone into these recently in terms of R&D, and how few materials there actually are, how simple they are, the fact that they're made overseas in such large quantities. You're really paying here for the design, for the brand, for the heritage. You're clearly not sort of paying for anything high-tech or, particularly expensive materials like you would be with other runners. Kind of like buying a Mercedes G-Wagon instead of a Cadillac Escalade. You're paying probably a lot more for quite a bit less, but that's sort of the point. It's all about the brand. The 4th reason not to get Converse is because you want to be different. I mean, let's face it. Basically, unless you work, in an office of geriatric lawyers, or, you're strutting down the aisle with a bunch of bridesmaids, you're probably not going to really stand out wearing these shoes. They're hardly going to turn any eyeballs on their own, but it's all about how you wear them, what you pair them with, and that's what's great about there being so many different colors. Obviously there's exceptions to every rule. Number 5 reason you might not want to get Converse is because they're made by Nike. Maybe that's a plus to some. To me, it kind of means that they've lost a little bit of their original appeal and they're a little bit less authentic. They're still made basically the same way. Nike will tell you they haven't changed anything. But to me, it's just another case of kind of supporting a big company that's replicating something from the past instead of continuing a genuine heritage, if that makes sense. Maybe it's kind of a silly thing, but it matters to some people. Personally, I'm also not a fan of child slave labor, and Nike is constantly in hot water for their poor overseas employment practices. And that's how you know that this video is not sponsored. These shoes are dark atomic teal. To me, it strikes the right balance. It's pretty vibrant in the way that I think Converse kind of was born to be. It stands out, but it's also a fairly natural color. Goes with a lot of other earthy tones. Pretty much pairs nicely with most things that I wear, being kind of in darker shades of gray or blue or green. And I also just think, I don't know if you can tell, but this color actually changes a lot depending on the light as well, which I kind of like. Like from this side is sort of the daylight coming in, and it basically will look a lot more blue. And then in a warmer interior type light as it's coming from here, basically it starts to look, you can see sort of the green tones much more clearly. I'm all for like reducing packaging, and the slim box that they come in is quite handsome, I would say. They're really packed in there pretty tight, which I guess just goes to show how kind of soft and flexible these shoes are. You're not really worried about folding them over or bending the tops down, which is good for storage, obviously. It's a very thin material, thin canvas, and extremely flexible, and really there's not a lot of support on these, which is both good and bad. But in terms of throwing them in a backpack or a bag, stacking them on top of each other, or putting them in a little box like this, it just means that they really don't take up as much space as most shoes or boots with ankles like this. In fact, if you kind of just fold it in all along the sole, you can see basically takes up even less room probably than most runners. Nice thing about these too is that as they fold and wear, in my opinion, they look just as good as they do when they're new. The like worn distressed look actually kind of suits these really well, and you've probably seen people walking around with Converse that looks like they've had for 10 years. I think they look basically as good on their deathbed as they do when they're brand new like this. So guys, there's 5 reasons why not to get Converse. So with all those reasons not to get Converse, you're probably wondering why I got these pair. Well, stay tuned and subscribe, because next video I'm going to go over basically another 5 reasons why you still might want to get Converse despite everything we just talked about. I hope that was helpful. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.